Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Oma History Podcast. Today, we're going to be looking back at the rise and fall of the Oma Nestle's factory with our special guest here today. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Rosemary Parsons and I come from Oma.
My name's Barry O'Neill from Oma as well.
And my name's Peter Wilson. I'm from Newton Stewart.
So I'm just going to ask you some questions about working at the old Nestle's factory now, obviously. My first question is, how was your experience working at the Nestle's factory?
I would say probably one of the best periods of my life. Wonderful place to work, great camaraderie, great community. And I have to say that Nestle's were a wonderful company. They looked after your needs, they paid you well, you done your work. And I spent nearly 25 years there, so I have no complaints. So I would safely say that there'll never be another company like it in Oma. It was sad that they left Oma in was it 2001, and they were there from 1942, and they certainly provided a livelihood for a lot of generations of families. Unfortunately, a lot of these generations have passed away, but we're still here to tell the tale.
Well, I worked in a different department. Rosie here worked in the lab, and we worked out in the roller dryer. It's a completely different department. But sometimes you have to do a bit of work because it's mostly physically work and a lot of heat in it. Not no sweating things like that. But no, you got on the social line. It was very good, because you had different nicknames on it, kind of different things. But I could tell you a couple of nicknames, but I can't tell you their names. The flycatcher, the Banty was the witch, and we really enjoyed ourselves. No, we used to get on quite well, on it. There's certain things we're doing on we shouldn't be doing on.
Yeah.
That kind of way, Other things as well.
Very on PC.
ALCO, maybe, times, but we got on the best. No, it's shift work is very hard, and it takes a toll on you, that shift work, because sometimes, you don't know if you're coming or going on it.
Yeah.
But it was great to work on it because it just got characters on it. That's the way we talk about it, from different part of the throne,
Yeah.
Some of the stories was one of them was, I'm not mentioning his name, he was, what did I call him? A different name, and told us to was sitting out in the smoke room. I used to smoke, one time, and I used to sit in the smoke room, and he turned around and says, he says, there's a funeral, he says, up at about Pumpage, he says, there's a lot of snow. He says, only way to get the coffin down, he says, tie it and put it in a rope and slide it down the hill the way they put it on the hearse. That was the end of that. That's kind of stuff you just come out with. I really enjoyed it.
My name's Peter, and I was in Nestle for over 20 years, same as Fuzzy. And when I started, the milk used to come in churns, on the back of lorries in churns. And as we progressed and modernisation came, then it came in tankers and was put in silos and everything. And I worked in the egg run department. When I first started there was about 12 of us on a line bagging powder that came off the egg run. And then there was a new egg run built, and it took only 4 of us to run the shifts. And we did round-the-clock shifts, 7 days a week, never even closed for a Christmas day. And no, it was a great place to work. There'll never be a place like it. What we don't say now, you'll never know. The things that happened in there were unbelievable. But it was a great place to work. I ended up as a team leader. I was also the first aider and a union rep as well. And we had great times there. We were a great crew.
Just happy experiences from everybody then?
Yeah, I worked in the laboratory, and they used to call us the snobs, but we were far from being snobs. We had great camaraderie there, and our hours would have been different. We would have worked day shifts, but then as they adapted over time to more modern procedures, they adopted a more 7-day week, and I ended up then working every month 12-hour shifts at night on a Friday and a Saturday night. We didn't like it, but unfortunately we had to adapt to the new modern procedures, and that's the way it was. There was never any problems with working with other people. There was no such thing as religion. mentioned. Maybe sometimes politics, but not very often. And that's the way Nestles would have had a big happy family, and they were quite content to sit in their ivory towers in Croydon and let us get on with what we were paid to do in Oma. And it was just unfortunate that the company decided to close because it broke a lot of people's hearts, and there was a lot of people out of jobs then. But we all took redundancy, which was extremely generous. And now we're at an age that we're receiving our company pension. There's nothing to touch it. You know, so it was, what more can I say? Nestle's definitely a worldwide organisation.
Yeah.
And we have to say that we're based in Oma, and the farmers were very happy that they came to Oma in 1942 because there was a lot of independent creameries. And all of a sudden then Nestle set up, and the farmers were able to bring their milk directly to Nestle's. There was more strict hygiene procedures, and they were also paid a decent, fair price for their milk. And they didn't have that far to go. And then, of course, then you had the lorries going out then to lift milk then after that. Over the years, went out and lifted the milk at the farms. And as the farms got bigger, progressively bigger, you had these tankers coming in, maybe lifting up to 2,000-3,000 litres of the bigger farmers, and then maybe the smaller farmers would have had 200 to 300 litres a day. But tankers still went and lifted their milk, and we would have tested the milk as it came in to make sure that it was suitable. And if it was sour, we had to turn it away. But at the end of the day, I think everybody just got on with their work, and that was what we were paid to do, and we certainly did it. Would you agree with that, Paddy?
Oh, it's because the department I worked with called the roller dryer. It's like big sheets of milk coming off. Like I started in 1970, late 77, but I stayed on to work at Lickland Dairies after that to 2005. But the way we worked was it comes off in big sheets, big blades goes across, and it sits on the roller and sticks to the roller, and the roller goes around the opposite way. And it comes off in big sheets. You think it's sheets of paper coming off.
Yeah.
But actually goes into these augers and goes into what we call the dry room. But you had to change. You had to wear a different hat, different things in shoes, and sterilise your hands before you and your feet before you went into what we used to call the dry room. That was the sterile room. Like it's like a sterile room, but you couldn't walk on your ordinary boots on it. You have to put a cover in your boots to walk on and make sure everything's okay in there. Because once we cleaned the place once a week, and the augers was taken apart. It was a lot of hard work because there's no house at that time. You had to physically force the stuff out and clean it. There used to be 3 of us, and we'd have it all done less than 6 hours. Some of the stuff now had to be very well tested because there's parts of there are big augers on it.
Yeah.
And the screw like us here and the milk go down there, and there's used to be a big end on it, but there used to be no end on it, and the milk used to stick to it, and then create a condensation on it. And to finish up, we were always testing. Sometimes you make it a bad bacteria, and it could be salmonella. That's what you get.
Yeah.
And our department used to be an old separator, wasn't it, last
Aye.
time? Like an old separator that comes down and splits the section you get. When you open that up, like a pasteurizer, right?
Yeah.
You can see maggots and everything in that.
Oh.
Now, this is because it's up to 70 degrees, and we had to all clean that there at least once a week, and all that to be all through that there, and then our milk come out of the drum out in the milk reception. But you know what preserved that day? Baking soda. That's what they used to put in. They used to put buckets of it in it, with the old tanks. And then also there was another place called the chocolate crumb, where you're doing mixing. And the chocolate crumb you put in, there's a different department now I'm talking about. This is around Biz packing room. Sometimes they were sent around there if they're doing maintenance in our department roller dryer. And I hit skipping, but we'd go up there, and the mix that you'd mix up there, you might mix 20 bags of second degree powder. Between good powder and cattle food in between. And 10 bags of cocoa mass, 10 bags of cocoa powder, and then 5 bags of sugar and 2 bags of caustic soda. That's to make the bubbles and preserve it. That's what used to preserve it. The baking soda preserved the milk as well. It was cooked. That used to make the powder we made was for the Milky Bar Kid, the white chocolate.
Yeah.
That's what made from that there. So it was, but it was hard enough work on it. Dirty work on it with the department. It's not like he worked up in the spray dryer, it's different. But ours now was What,
We were the hard workers.
we're the usual boys set up in the control. We had to put the stuff on. We had to wash this place, and I tell you, it's difficult to wash it. They come back up. Just by the way, you know yourself, Rosie, pull the things out, and they had to be taken out apart. Everything had to be stripped. They get cleaned and washed and chimneys. These big cannabis and stuff gathering up and smell of it. You had to wash all that air down before you could start up again. Start out and everything, and then start up again. So much hard work when you get hard work like that. You know.
And the heat involved.
The heat.
Oh,
Yeah, serious heat.
My department, you can actually still see as you go past Nestle's, because it's the big tall building. And the egg run in there went from the bottom right the way up to the top and all inside. And the milk came in from the top, and the steam, high heat steam, came in and then turned it to powder as it came down the system. It went through processes.
No, it was hot air, exhaust, big exhaust, hot air. You should have a big jet, then you got hot air, had it and instant turned it into like dust, powdery dust.
Aye, that's what I said, more or less.
Right, going ahead, and then these hoppers that you have.
And then they went through the hopper system and finally down to a shaker to get any bits out of it. And then we ended up, after modernisation and that, with ton stainless steel bins. You'd have two. Once one was full, it would change over to the other one. You just use a forklift then to take the full bin off and stack it ready for going down to the packing room to be packed. And most of our stuff went to China until Nestle's actually opened a factory up in China. We kind of lost that order then. But the cleaning of that was terrible, because you had to go down inside it on a hoist. You had a 12-foot steel pole with a scraper on the end of it, and you had to get all the way down, scraping it off, 2 men at a time. And then on the roof, you had two big exhaust tanks that you had to go inside and shovel up all the powder that had come out with the exhaust, and then just load it over the side with a rope and that. And if everything was going right, it was perfect. Like 3 of us, it ended up with just 3 people running the place. But if things went wrong, the heat in there, you just came out absolutely soaking wet and that. But if everything was going right, it was perfect.
Sure. They even had snow out during July one year. One two boys were coming into work and the whole place was covered in white over the houses over the other side. But a certain man forgot to look up at one of the big hoppers was full to the neck and blowing out through the pipe, straight out of the pipe, straight across the houses, across the Dairy Road. Everything was white.
Covered.
Like with powder.
Like
And
with powder.
it wasn't my shift.
The digger shift.
Yeah. We tested when the tankers was saying earlier there, when they came in, we tested the fresh milk to make sure that it was suitable, and the fat content, the protein content, and the solids. And then we progressed then to test it then in the main lab. When the powder would be I have to go back here. We had a micro lab as well, microbiology lab to test it then for any bacteria such as E. coli or salmonella. But salmonella wouldn't have been tested in Nestle's. If there was any trace of salmonella, we wouldn't have been allowed to work with salmonella because of the dangers of the risks involved there. But it was more E. coli and more simpler sort of bacteria, but it never really happened. And we would have competence samples coming in, and say for every ton of powder, we would have tested maybe 10 or 11 samples, and then there were samples sent to Croydon in England, so they would basically have the finished product, and they would send us then the results of what they tested over there. And then if there's any other problems, we'd send them then to New Forge Lane in Belfast, because that was the standard procedure of the environmental health, that the powder, certain batches of powder would have to be sent to Belfast to be tested, and that was regulations. But Nestle's were fairly tight on their regulations and on the rules of the game, and we stuck by that rigidly. And the good thing about it was what Porrick was saying and Peter was saying, we worked as a very, very tight community. And there was great
A group.
A
We're all
group.
in group together.
Yeah. And there was very little fallouts. And if we didn't work together like that there, the whole thing would have fallen apart. So it was very important then. The communication structure was excellent. So I couldn't say any more than that.
And also, you see, we had to be tested every other week for health wise, because there's always a doctor in there. Dr. San come once a fortnight, was it? Once a fortnight, Rosie?
I come on a Wednesday.
Anne Grant was the nurse in the place, so we had to be all tested for different health problems. If you picked up, say, vomit diarrhea out, you can't go back 6 weeks, you're tested, in case you picked up some, E. coli or salmonella, anything like that. That's all tested, because you're wearing whites. You have to wear whites to go in there. You can't wear ordinary clothes in there. You have special boots, special hat, no earmuffs or no masks or anything like that. It was all just t-shirt, whites and everything like that. All had to be white. See, they're dirty, you had to change right away and put new whites on, because it's very strict. So the lab and all were very strict about what you're wearing, because if you come in there with dirty stuff or even walking the cows, you have to go and make yourself sterilized before you go into a place. Some places
Yeah.
used to do pure alcohol on it. That's square stuff.
Oh, you didn't know about that now?
But
A certain way I was thinking it one night. I'll tell you one thing. I thought he was saying thing other things in the corner. I didn't think what he was talking about.
But we were looked after because we had a great canteen that served breakfast in the morning and a dinner at dinner time and that. And in the canteen, you had leisure stuff. There was a full-sized snooker table, a table tennis table, a dartboard. You weren't allowed to play during working hours, but you could come in after work and that and play and that,
Aye, well, I wasn't thinking about the night shift. A lot of boys lying on top of it, lying sleeping on
Well, you see, I wasn't going to say that now.
Yeah, they had a Nestle social club as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and twice a year, a group of us take off maybe to
Dublin.
Dublin.
Yeah.
And one year we went over to Dumfries over in Scotland, where Nestle's have a factory over there.
Nestle's have a factory in Dublin, you see, and every year they'd come up here and play football and games and then go for Royal Arms dance and things like that. And then we'd go down there next year and do the same thing. And that went on for quite a while.
It was very
It
social.
was a good social thing.
Yeah, we had a shop as well.
Well, you get a shop and you get your coffee or anything you want for half the price when you get in the shop. And
Oh, quarter, maybe a fraction of the price.
And certain boys used to come out at night there and night shift and come into the car and come back in and fully loaded. And you think the mug flaps sitting there cutting the ground. So they would go around the stores and have the big, 5-gallon jars of very liquid and big mass. Now these are professional washing powder, not the ones you buy in the shop. These are big ones, maybe about 10 15 kilos in a box. And they disappear in the shop, but nobody says nothing because the guy in the store knows rightly who took it and he reorders it at the end of it.
You see, Nestle's own that many different companies, like Quality Street and all those.
Yeah.
Well, we got all their stuff into the shop at special prices and that, But when I started in Nestle's, there must have been over 350 working, wouldn't have been?
There would have been Peter
And then-
during the summertime, I think 1977, 78, there was up to 500. Now that would included part-time students coming in there in the summertime.
And then when modernisation came, it was down to 100, maybe.
Yes,
That would have been the most.
yeah, it just deteriorated then after that because obviously orders, I suppose companies got orders and Nestle's were a worldwide company and I suppose they had to tender, their goods and products to other countries. And then all of a sudden, it was at 1998, was it just before the Oma bomb? They
weren't going to pull out. We're going to pull out of Oma.
were going to close Oma at that stage. And then because of the Oma bomb, then they stayed on then to what, 2000?
2002.
2002. So that was a big knock. It was a huge knock, the Oma bomb. It knocked the stuffing out of us all. And unfortunately, as Peter and Warwick would tell you, there was members of the Nestle staff lost family members in the Oma bomb.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
We went to a lot of funerals that time.
Yes, we did.
There was somebody from Nestles that had children, brothers, sisters, all killed
Wives,
in
yeah.
the bomb.
Yeah. So that took a while to get over, because people, not alone with the people in Omagh were traumatised, you know, places of work were traumatised, and it took months to get over that. And I honestly think that it was never the same again, even though we did try to pull together. It just knocked the stuffing out of us, and that was it.
Yeah, it was a rough event in
It was.
the history.
Yeah.
I was actually working that day when the bomb went off, and the whole factory just went dead. Power, everything just shut down. The whole thing shut down.
Yes.
We hadn't got a clue what was happening, like, because mobile phones, you couldn't use the mobile phones or anything, landlines or nothing you could use.
Yeah, because Croydon then had contacted the senior management in Omagh to close down the factory, so it was difficult. I know we'll probably go silent over that, but it was probably one of the most difficult times we ever went through in our lives.
But we all stuck.
Hard to take in a time, you know, especially people when you work with, you know, and you wouldn't think it happened to their family members, you know, and do you think it was going to happen to your own, you know, that kind of way?
Yeah.
Because I had a son, the wife decided to go to Belcoo to the 15th of August to, the festival in Belcoo was on the 15th of August.
Aye.
It was on a day. They decided to go, they usually be up the stairs in a cafe at the corner. That's what they usually be. But they decided to go to Belcoo festival, so they went to that. But they were lucky. I had two nephews now, and they got a lot of chaplain on them. But there's still one of them now, God rest his soul, now he died in a car crash, but the other one's still living, but it takes no flinch out of him. But at the time they did, a lot of them they were down an entry. So when they went to entry, the way down, you know, the step, you go down the steps. They were halfway down the steps. Everything just flew through. Some got the face done here, cut, arms cut, legs cut, all the chaplain things like that. I know they got money for it, but the iron's never been right on them since. No nephew of mine, but
Like Godfrey Wilson that worked with us, his daughter was killed in it,
Yeah.
in the charity shop.
Then Kevin Skelton's wife.
Yeah, Kevin's wife.
And then there was a girl that worked in the office, Julia Hughes.
Yeah.
She died as well. So can you imagine how that affected all of us as well?
But we all stuck together though.
Yeah, we
Went to
did.
the funerals together and
Yeah.
that. And
Wakes.
Porrick now, gets people together now
just to
to go for
socialise.
coffee, for a social
Yeah.
and that. And we were going to Costa Coffee, but there was that many started coming that we were putting 4 tables together and that.
Yeah.
So we've moved now to the Birches and they're very good to us.
Yeah.
Now we go out to know all, they bring us tea and that, you know.
The way it worked well after this is I started this up way back in 2019. There was God rest now, Martin McCrory, God rest his soul now because he died. It was me, him, Helen, Kelwell, Gary McComb and Brian Byrne. Took us 7 weeks to get people organised for a Nestle's reunion, and the purchase in 2018. If you look it up, you'll get it up. And it was a real nightmare because if we got over 100 people for that room, we get the room free, and also we get a special treat for steaks or whatever you want, fish or duck or anything like that, for 7 of us for organising. And it was a complete nightmare. And you know, already you get boys on and like a certain sneaky, he decided that I could organise better than you. And I says, well, if he could, I says, why do you not do it for 7 weeks? I said, well, about to doing that there. And he said, oh, why, you got perks and we don't get perks? Well, I says, did you organise it? You didn't organise it. Dinky, the boy Dinky, that's his nickname. Dinky's going to hit him. But it was good. We could get everybody gathered together. And then there's a certain person, Richard Pinkerton, come over to England, we call him Pinky. And he came over to England. He's well up in Nestles in England, still in Nestles. In England, well up in it.
He worked with us, like, and then he transferred over to England.
And he landed over about £500 of stuff. We got new products for Nestle's products for the older people, the old pensioners people. Very predominantly about all over. And that was a good night, except for one person destroyed it, and that was a farmer. But it was great. And then I decided there just recently, was it last year, beginning of last year, me and Lofty and Rosie and me, and usually Colin sits out, and we decided, I had all the numbers, most of the numbers on my phone. And I says, Jesus, we get to get tired a wee bit together. And he was on about another Nestles too. And I says, no, I'm not going down that line because I was out £400. There was people appeared I didn't even know who they were. And we had a big list of names. And I said, I'm not going down that line again. So we decided then I'd gather the names and I'd text them, just all text them and say, right, the next one now is the 25th of this month. And it's Saturday at the purchase. And what Lofty says, right, see who turns up. And that's all the way it works. You may get 12 or 13, some other times you only get 8. But everybody doesn't turn up at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, there could be somebody 12 this month, and it could be 8 this following month.
Yeah.
Different ones. You can't get the 20 or 30 at one go. And then Ron decided to have a thing in November, remember, the coach? Just a few drinks for whoever wants to come. Just I don't want a big crowd because you get yourself into handle. But it's just a social thing. It's just to know about the old past, type, talking thing, because you don't see half the people half the time.
Yeah.
See,
That's the way I walk it with the wife.
it was a nice click that worked there, like, you know, together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And we were just talking about Nestle's. Nestle's was paying their employees wages that only people maybe in other companies or shops or any other forms of employment could dream of. And they were paying above the average wage. They paid you for overtime. They paid you for every 15 minutes that you were there. If you worked a bank holiday, they paid you. You got double time and a day in lieu.
Asked me, excuse me,
Yeah.
I asked me to come on. I was stuck one night, right? And of course I had a few drinks on New Year's Eve night, right? Just only a few cans. And I was asked to come on, and I made the decision, right? If I come on here, I want paid from 4 o'clock. The next morning I want treble time plus 3 blue days. So I got it, the whole thing. I got the whole lot done. And I said, right, I want paid, no tax. Taxman, no taxman, I want separate from everything else. And that's what I got because they were desperate because they didn't get anybody for the roller. And I come on and was just a day and a hangover next morning.
And then they also had a sick pay scheme,
Yep.
you know, which was very generous. Sometimes it could be abused now.
I know about that.
And but again, that's one thing about Nestle's. They were very benevolent towards their employees, and if you pulled your weight, and we did most of the time, and done a good job, you got the benefits of it and good wages, holidays.
You get a bonus, depends on what you earn at the end of the year, much Roundtree's. See, they took over Roundtree's factory, right, or Roundtree's company. And the way Roundtree's work, they had a bonus. If they sell so much products per year, right, it could be 5% or 10 bonus. But the way they worked it was with your yearly wage or your yearly salary at the end of the year. Say if you earn 40,000, you get 10, you get 4,000 on top of that. A lump sum, no jack. You know about that, don't you?
No.
They used to run about a time they bought Roundtree's, right?
Right.
After the time Banty and them boys to tell you, living right.
Would I have been left after before that?
Johnny McLaughlin was on about it, right? And Johnny says to us, are you going to get a bonus from Roundtree's? I said, what do you mean a bonus? You know, we don't work for Roundtree's. I said, we work for Nestle. I said, I guess. Oh, no. He says, they bought over Nestle's. And they see the scheme. More product to sell. The more things you do for Nestle's, more overtime you do things they got there, boost up your yearly
Your profits.
profits, right?
Yeah.
You'll get a bonus. It depends on how much they sell. It could be 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. I think the maximum was 5 or 6%. So if you worked out at say £40,000, take 5% of that. That's what you get in a check for a lump sum for one-off payment.
It was, a one-off payment, and that lasted for several years, and then they stopped it.
Yeah.
That right either, what he called Macintosh was it Brown 3, they made Kit Kats, and Nestle now has their own brand name on the Kit Kats.
But most of the powder, they don't use much powder now, they use palm oil.
Palm oil too.
And it's not good stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
It's not good. See, in Nestle's way back then, if you could say Roundtree's chocolate, say like Aero and Kit Kat, what Rosie says there, and say the Milky Bar Kid. See, Milky Bar Kid now is made from spray powder. It's made one time they couldn't get it to make it. White chocolate was made from rolled dried powder because it's more coarser powder, and they made the Milky Bar Kid that way. But the other stuff now wasn't that great, so they decided to adapt it. It makes it cheaper to make it through palm oil.
Yeah.
Or the milk, because everything was getting dear, so they made that cheaper. It's not good for you, that palm oil.
Yeah, no, it's not. The taste tastes way different with palm oil as well.
Totally. But I think when Lofty and Porrick started off, they made the chocolate crumb, They made the carnation milk. Do you remember that, Peter?
The cream.
Cream,
Cream.
whole cream. And then the roller dried powder, which were Porrick worked, and then the spray dried powder, where Peter worked.
There used to be some boys used to do the experiment and so kept special chemicals up in the separator. Run like hell, and you hear that big boing, and on the end of it, run like hell. They did that for pure badness and say to scare the people, and then everybody would look and investigate and see where that went. What did they mix it with? Chlorine and something
Chlorine.
else?
Chlorine.
See, we worked, what we used for cleaning the insides of the chambers and everything was acid and caustic. And that could burn.
Going to the pool.
Very volatile. But
Oh,
if you mix the two together,
even
you
just
know.
breathing it in, like, you could feel it in your chest.
The acid we were using, well, I was using fluorous acid.
Nitric acid we used.
The battery acid they were using. That's the acid they were using. And that's dangerous.
That's
stuff.
what we used for cleaning all inside, all the chambers and everything.
Yeah, and then we use hydrochloric acid and ammonia, and then to do our testing in the lab. So
Then where the milk was separated, what do you call the big separation is excuse me, what happens is the milk comes in, right, and it's dried, and that water, there's water comes off it, concentrated water. Used to use that for washing because it's really sterile. We couldn't use ordinary fresh water because we didn't know what was under that chlorine on it. You couldn't use it because it's too much chlorine, so we had to use the concentrated water for washing. And same as the tires, the same. You had to use they had big tanks, and the store that's done the big tanks. So that's sterile water you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that was used for to clean the food factory because you couldn't take the water from outside because it's full of that other chemical chlorine and it's not good for powder. It can create a lot of havoc. I know yourself, Rosie, you open lab about it.
yeah.
It's no micro, whatever. What do you call them? Micro what?
Yeah.
Microorganisms.
Yeah.
Aye,
yeah.
aye. And it's not good for the milk powder.
No.
Throw away the dry area and things like that.
Yeah.
If you're washing things like that, ordinary fresh water, it's not good for them.
No.
And everything has to be sterilized with pure
Yeah.
alcohol.
That's what they use, pure alcohol and then sterilised water. So that, again, you can understand then the process that Nestle's, that was part of the pattern of from when the milk came in and the lorries from the farms, how the process started then in order to create the products that they wanted to make. But in doing so, they were very strict with their hygiene, very, and then health and safety came into that much later. I think health and safety only came in big time in the early 80s, where,
Late 90s, the early 90s, because of the department I work on, the steam pipes are covered in asbestos, covered like mild asbestos. I broke off. We weren't told what it was. We were sweeping it up. Like, I have a problem. I have one right lungs damaged, but that's. At that time, we had laughed and all them. I don't think there's earmuffs or masks. You hope the best. Then you're looking at different dangerous chemicals, and you go out to the caustic store and go and get a scoop and put it into a bucket. Away you go, and then throw it into a ballast tank. Or a boy come in one day and put his hand out to do that. You're not been talking again. And he thought it was no milk fluff, no foam, but it's actually caustic. Just throw it in. You said, woof, go up like that. Like, you wouldn't get away with that now. It's too dangerous, but. That's the way it used to be way back long before you were born, right? And we were in working it. You had to go and get come on the buckets, black buckets. You had maybe 3 buckets of caustic, throw it into the balance tank, circulate so it flushes out the system. Then you put 2 buckets of chlorine, red fluorescent acid. There's a different type of acid, milder acid, and you put in to flush out that system, things like that. And then if any of the big plates is burnt, they're put into a big bath. You just throw a bucket of caustic in it, you stand there, no mask or nothing on you. Hope for the best. Nothing happens to you.
So the caustic would have cleaned it, but it would have left a white scum. So then the acid went round then and cleaned the white scum off, like.
Yeah. But
Well, they were very strict on the hygiene. It was tested and everything. There was test points all over the place for doing this.
they were, and the machinery
Regular.
that they had, Lofty, the top of the range. Now a lot of it was all German made, wasn't it? The Ravima and what do you call it? The
Schaefer.
The Schaefer.
Schaefer.
And you're talking about
It
millions
was-
of pounds worth of investment in Oma.
Yeah.
From in and around about I suppose the middle 70s, they started to get very modern.
1980 on to the 90s, they got everything started modernised.
Yeah.
See that tall building down there where the egg room was?
Yeah.
You've only got steps up the inside, the rest is just hollow, and that's what the whole of that place is taken up with the egg and that.
About 10 stories high.
Yeah, it's shaped like a vortex, you know, like a V.
Yeah.
And it's pure as it stainless steel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose, you know, the investment, that was, I know that at the time they would have got, Nestle's would have got maybe help from the government.
Grants.
Yeah, because they were providing manufacturing jobs, which is very important to Omagh at that particular time. Omagh is, as you know, an agricultural market town. So basically Nestle's was needed when they came in here in 1942. But things started to get more progressive, and then I suppose then computerisation was a big thing. It came in the 80s, and a lot of people didn't.
I hadn't a clue.
They didn't want to change, or it's very difficult to change people's mindsets. You know,
Because we used to write everything down on a sheet of paper, and this computer now, and this part, and I says, "What's that? A TV?" Which is noise. I hadn't a clue what. Up the dryer as well. The boys hadn't a clue what they're looking. I didn't want to. When I had to learn how to use it, I had there's some spreadsheets and everything, and you had to write everything down, the time and the temperature and everything right across the board. Hey, what's that for? I'm writing. How do you do that? You haven't got a clue in that time.
Yeah. So again, that was a big thing, was the computerisation, and again, you had to go for extra training in order to adapt to that as well, because if you didn't, then you're lost. You know, so but we were afraid at the time it certainly was.
Used to be fun when you started the egg run up, because you could actually put her over pressure and she would have blown up.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't blowing up. The one person sucked it on.
Smoky.
I was down in the road of dryer one night and I heard this massive bang. The lights flickered. And somebody said, he says, Smokey sucked on the egg and it's never said that.
I was there, Smokey was, chicken to blow, kids, chicken to blow, kids, chicken to blow. Quick.
She couldn't land on the top of Bessie Bell or Pigeon Top.
So she'd start up and you had 2 dials to try and control the pressure. And if you didn't get it right, she'd go under pressure, suck her in and then blow her out. And she'd have took the whole building with it.
Exactly.
And us.
Yes.
You want to see there were a big dent on her like that? You sucked her on that much.
And I had to get a new piece put into it.
Yeah. So there was, I suppose there was human errors made as well, and then people maybe, all of us were guilty of cutting cutting corners, as it were, and rushing maybe to get finished or something like that there. So that happened too as well, but that's human nature. But we got there, and we got very little complaints.
Yeah, but there was other people also sabotaged certain things, but we couldn't prove it who was doing it. There's people on there doing a bit of sabotaging. They wanted to put the place off for a couple of hours or get something rest in the canteen. That's what I was to do with. I'm telling you, nowadays there's people still bit at it. They do it for badness, so that's what they do. But it's a great place to work for. It's good to socialise, because that's why I started up this thing now past every month. Works a bit, no, don't do it now in the summertime, but it's good to socialise with people, because once they left Nestle's, everybody forgot about everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
That was it. But I decided, Dinky come to be in the coach in one night. I think a few things with Dinky. And he says to me, this before Nestle too, and he says, buddy, we'll have to start up. He says, get a Nestle studio and get Nestle. Right, Dinky, right, we'll start that. Then he started telling everybody else about it then. And I said, well, Dinky, you need to be keep quiet here, because you'll be coming to my house, and Helen will be there. And then I give him a special whiskey one night. Oh, jeez, you want to hear it all? Helen says, no, Martin. No. Dinky, we have to get these names down. Forget about all that in the past. I don't want to hear that. And he kept on about it, And I said, Dinky, keep quiet. I said, look about the names here. And he came over, and the face was getting redder and redder. And I finished up, he was drunk. And then Helen took him home, I think. The wife was too happy on it, wasn't
It was wrong. Just talking about that last topic that Corey was on about romance. I met my husband. He came over to an electrical contract in Nestle's in 1996. You remember that? Mm-hmm. I met him. He was more Burton-on-Trent, Staffordshire. Lofty's from Staffordshire. So there's nice things happened down there too. There was. Yeah, and I got married to Kevin. Unfortunately, he passed away.
There was a lot of romances down there.
There are a lot of things going on about romances, I'll tell you that much.
So you can see, Porrick, that there was it was like a town within a town.
Yeah.
There's so many things happened in the factory. And then, of course, a lot of people will say then, whatever happens in the factory, it stays in the factory. No rumours, please, be carried out. Uh-huh.
No, that's in Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yes,
Swiss,
that's where they're from.
Yeah,
And they didn't
yeah.
like it.
That's where Nestle's, that's where it
Headquarters.
started.
That's where the headquarters is.
Headquarters, aye, and then the British headquarters is in Croydon, in England. So,
It was a good enough place to work, but you know, sometimes you get tested, sometimes you get, I don't mind saying going about the health again. If you're sick, right, the nursemate and Grant, we got rest of so now used to take us in and test us if we were sick with some kind of disease or cold or bad flu. Oh no, there you go, home. You're sick. You're not allowed in there. Because you've gone through a very hygiene department. No high quality powder going through it, and you don't want that contaminated because some of that powder goes for baby food.
Yeah.
Comes to baby food, and that's not good either. And also, in the dryer where he worked, there was this stuff. What do you call it? What do you call the big drums, the 200-gallon drums? Ben Quinn put his forks through. They're like it's like tar. It's like treacle.
Oh, the lactogen.
Oxygen, and there's different vitamins going into the silos,
Aye.
and that is for baby powder. I don't know, stuff is smelling. The stuff, oh, Jesus, some of the vitamins, Jesus, I don't know why you put that stuff in this.
the vitamin A and vitamin D3. And we used to make it up in big buckets then, and then we used to get the guys over and the fresh milk to empty it into the big silos, and then that was homogenised, it was mixed through the milk. But there was one time I think I forgot to put the vitamins in. I had to tell my boss. It was an oversight, and so we agreed then that before the milk would want to or be tried for the spray powder, that we mix 2 silos together to go in to get spray dried, and then we'd put in double the vitamins for the vitamins that I didn't put. I forgot to put into the other silo, but it worked out the best. And then when we tested, it just came out ideal. But that's actually the vitamin A and D3. That has to go into the you said the baby powder, which actually goes to the Middle East and Africa. You know, because of the famines out there. So, but then I suppose Nestle then came under scrutiny from the World Health Organization because a lot of the mothers out in Africa there were mixing instead of breastfeeding, which was best for the baby, that they were mixing the powder with contaminated water, and then the babies were dying then of gastroenteritis. So I'm afraid Nestle's fell foul of the World Health Organization, so that had to be sorted out.
Yeah.
You know, so no company's perfect. You know what I mean? They're not perfect. They never will be.
Our biggest supplier was, what's the name, China. Most of our powder went to China
Yeah,
until Nestle's opened up a factory in China. And that stopped us then.
yeah.
When you see that's how Connie was starting up, is that right? See, your man Cunningham, out by Cunningham, used to be a salesman in Nestle's one time, selling, maybe used to gather milk in from different farmers. So had a wee small place out there now, that's where they have a big spray dryer. They dry skim milk. They don't do full cream milk, skim powder. It's very light, very fine. They do that. I don't know what's that used for, Rosie? No skim milk. No, not full cream milk.
The skim powder, you mean?
Aye.
I was used for making up milk. You know, for
Just ordinary
and
milk,
it's
like.
made into products. Used in products for chocolate and
Or you just add water to it and
Yeah,
it's back
yeah.
to milk, like.
yeah.
No, this is
Huh?
some fat is taken out of the milk.
Right?
They dry the rest.
They separated it.
Yeah.
You had to separate it where I first went.
Aye. Well, they separate the fat from the milk, right?
Yeah.
The fat's taken away, and the rest that's dried, and that down Starroy, that's what they do. They all the thick fat all out of it, very sticky stuff.
Yeah.
They take that out of it. That's separate. They sell that separate.
Yeah.
But they dry the rest of it. Very light stuff. Very
Very
light
fine.
powder.
Very fine.
Fine, whatever. I don't know what they use it for, but that's what Starroy does as well out there. They do a big dryer. Have you ever past it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
That's what
took
they
over
do.
from Nestle's, didn't they, really, and free?
Oh,
They
aye.
would have, when Nestle's shut, Roy sort of started up.
And the quota milk, you see what happened Nestle's also the reason why they pulled out was the quota milks. Kerry was trying to buy it, but they weren't big enough to buy it at that time. And Glanbia, you ever heard of Glanbia?
No.
They're another company from the Republic of Ireland, right? I think a part of Kerry Group. They're looking to buy it. What they were going to do, change it into a cheese factory. That's what they want to do to it. But I don't know what happened there. But then Lakeland Dairies took it over. They're looking for the quota, that's all they wanted. They didn't want anything else to do with it. And that's what they got then to finish up, was the milk quota. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
There's big profit in that, you see. Then they closed the factory down there. Because the Lakeland Dairies took it over. But Kerry Group took it over. It would have been still a spread dryer and also a cheese factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for.
But it was a sorry day, I can tell you now, when Nestle's closed. And you know, I think the three of us, Porrick and Peter, would agree, I would do it all over again.
Why?
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
Got a crack.
I would-
You're crack about it. Socialised and crack about it.
If
No
we went
doubt.
back there, I would do it all, work there again, because of such a great time of my life. But we forgot to mention that there was unions down there as well. We had trade
Oh, well,
unions.
I'm just going to say, you just mentioned Johnny McLaughlin there.
Yeah.
Me and Johnny were the union reps, and we negotiated our own wages and that with the company and that. And Johnny was some negotiator. He
certainly
was
was.
good. He actually left to start up his own sort of
Right.
citizens' advice and that.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Then he went on to be a councillor.
The Patchy done the same. The Patchy was involved in it. The Patchy.
Aye.
He was involved. He was part of the union. I don't mention his name, but that's his nickname was Patchy. And he was very good, very smart. But I made the time. My wife is a nurse, a retired nurse. She does so we were works, and she couldn't understand. We were getting more money than she was getting her nurse. But to finish up, I know she gets a better. If you go up higher grade in the nursing, you get better pension. But we only, the more you earn, the more you get in a pension to Nestle's. Depends how much weight you want to take. You can take a bigger lump sum, a smaller paid pension, or take a bigger one and then tax more. And it would happen me. The tax man gets more of it.
Exactly.
Always does. Yeah. So the trade unions kept the management on their toes as well.
I think we only went on strike once, didn't we?
That was about 19... When did you start?
It was 80s. That was 1988. Johnny McLaughlin says, right, stop the ring, turn the ring off, out with one, look out, right.
Well,
Right,
on
we
strike.
Down tools.
Everybody was outside and all in the white. The next thing, man, what do you call him? I worked in the Herald that time. I had John McSorley, but same age as me, going, hey, Pike. What's going on here? I can't tell you. None do you. Stay out of it. That's what he's looking for news for the Herald. That's what he's looking for. No. Somebody must have tipped him off. No, I just, not open my mouth. And it only lasted 2 or 3 years and brought back in again.
He lived in Arstraw. He used to cycle from Arstraw, that's the other side of Newton Stewart, which is about 15 miles to Oma. That's not right, didn't he? Cycle to Nestle's and cycle home. He was the manager. Yeah. But he died very suddenly and quite young.
So when we first started, there was buses, actually. There was a bus went to Drumquin, and a bus went down towards Newton and that, to bring the workers into the work.
That's right.
Stopped outside there, Lucky Inn Chinese shop is now. Used to boys stop there and pick the ones up around the town to go down to work from the town. Nestle's bus, and then they had the houses down there beside Nestle's. They all sold now, aren't they?
They are
Yeah. They were for senior management.
managers.
Aye.
So you go down, if you head down this way towards the factory where them cars are sold now, there was 2 houses here, and then around the corner of the rugby club there's another 2 or 3 houses down there belonged to Nestle's. There were people for coming over England to stay in. And sometimes the manager would have one.
The managers was across the road,
Yeah.
still there,
Yeah, he had a detached house on his own, that's right.
Yeah.
That's still there. I don't know who bought that house.
Because people would tell you, when Nestle's factory, the cheese factory started up, right, the people that lived in them houses across them can't reject it because the factory was there before the houses. That's the rules, regulations, but they might be changed now.
Then we had a big flood, 1987. Do you remember that?
Yep, flooded the whole factory. We were struggling trying to get the pallets of powder as high as we could. But what happened was the bottom ones got soaked, they collapsed, and the top ones then just fell in. The water was that high through the whole factory, at least that high,
Yes.
through the whole factory.
Yeah. The river.
That was some clean-up job.
Oh, what, it took weeks.
Oh.
The river burst the spanks down there, known as the Frey Water Porrick.
Yeah.
And it burst the spanks, and such a handling. Just the whole ground floor of the factory just completely flooded. Then any products had to be thrown out.
All out of
All
me,
thrown
dumped.
out. The lab, most of the lab, the cupboards, and they had to be replaced. Everything had to be replaced because it wasn't safe anymore. And especially with working in a micro lab, everything had to be replaced. Fridges and the whole lot. And
And it's on the ground floor, like the
yeah,
canteen, everything
yes,
flooded.
yeah. So again, we all thought we were wetting behind and come in. I remember coming in along with Paddy Phillips on a digger.
No, wiggy.
And going in knee deep into the lab to try to sort of salvage what we could.
All the stuff was thrown out. Thousands
Thousands of
millions of
pounds.
pounds of stuff thrown
Yeah.
out. And I would come in one day and a certain man, this engineer man, says to me, Congratulations, I used to call him. He says, right buddy, he says, I do you a bit of fishing, where's your waders? I want you to go in there. And I suggested maybe a couple of salmon line on them, and I seen no front one, I could see the fishing rod and everything on it going here. But that time a lot of sewer was open, like, everything would come back up instead of going out.
Yeah.
Non-return valves to sewer. Everything was going back up again from the sewers.
So we couldn't,
a real mess.
we couldn't even do much for a couple of days till the river started to go down and that, and the water
Yeah.
started to go out.
And then the Department of Environment, the council, and the government then funded to build
Flood wall.
a wall, you know, a bank,
Yeah.
to prevent the waters coming in if there was another repeat of the flood. And that
Non-return
caused,
valves, like non-return like valves, those storm valves.
yeah,
They're big massive storm valves. So when the water goes out, water can't go up because it goes the opposite way. So when
Yeah.
the water goes out, it goes that way. So if the water comes back in, it closes. So it only goes one way. That's
Stops the flooding.
system.
so that was quite a big job then for the council and for the government or the government departments to build that river wall or river bank.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't know what at particular time it could have been
It was at the back of the canteen
Yes,
from the bridge.
yeah,
It was a concrete wall they built round
yeah.
and that to stop it.
And then, as you know, a river, if it can't get out here,
Yeah, it's going to get out
it
somewhere.
has to get out somewhere. So then further on down the Ferry water, the farmers started to complain that the flood waters were flooding their fields further on down. But at the same time, you had to consider the factories, Nestle's, you know, their concerns about the manufacturing. They had to consider, you know, that was number one priority, was to get this wall built to prevent the water from or the river from flooding the factory.
Ever again. Oh, it cost a lot of money now.
It did.
There was a lot of stuff lost.
Yes,
Well, if you're talking about nowadays money, you're talking about millions.
yeah.
That'll be done.
That's right. So that was October 1987, long before you were born, Pádraig.
Yeah.
Because no, at the start of everything, it took what I think it took 2 months to get everything washed down and cleaned and sterilized.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not done at that time to get things. Even the drums out in the fresh milk room, you couldn't get into it because it's nearly up to your neck in it. And all that walls, you could see the line on the walls going across, you know, where you couldn't get in.
Aye.
And then the sea side go down, another line before it went down.
Yeah.
But all that had to be all washed off, sterilised and away fucking things.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, it's strive and
You know,
but
big fridges and
Oh,
fridge
aye.
freezers and wonderful sort of. But we thought at the time, you know, the state of the art, what do you call it, equipment in the lab and maybe in the canteen as well, and
Canteen.
anything that was ground floor just had to be dumped.
Packing room, like all the machines
Yeah.
on the packing room and
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So,
They were all on the ground floor.
so I'm sure probably the Nestle insurance would have covered that, the liability insurance or whatever would have paid that,
Yeah.
you know, at the time. But again, we overcome that, and there's no such thing
Yeah.
as mobile phones. There's no social media or nothing. Then.
I went to Hog's Head for a couple of drinks. Some evenings after that.
You're doing a lot of drinking here, Patrick.
did.
Hey?
Yeah.
Oh, there are a lot of us did not drinking that time. You got away with it. I wouldn't do it nowadays. We're too old for that now, but there used to be a lot of drinking going on about it. I used to go to McGinn's a lot. I used to do the driving. No, I did some crack that night.
There's some boys used to make their own stuff.
No, I make their own stuff there. Plum patching. They had it here
Right.
stuff.
The wine Mickey used to make.
Mickey
Knock your head
McCormick.
off.
Yeah.
God rest his soul. There's another boy that's well up in England now. He made plum patching. Oh, Jesus Christ almighty. I wasn't well for 3 days after it.
I was probably poison, that's why.
Yeah, but we were taking, like, a certain supervisor told us one night, he was there that night, I don't mind saying it because he's, right, can I answer?
I hope
Can
you're
I
not
say
going to implicate me
Right,
in
no,
anything
no,
here now.
right. He was a soldier, you see. So I have to come out a good one. And I got the roller dryer and all cleaned up. This was round, what is it? Night before Christmas Eve, everything was going to shut down on the box. So I decided to go into a wee room and patching and whiskey and everything was on. The whole lot of us were drinking. And says to me, ceasefire 24, you're not hiding behind the cross, McLean, down the butcher's are you? It's like just to him, you know, and he says, ceasefire, 24 hours, ceasefire.
Do you remember the lobster and the brandy and the whiskey came in for, was it Mark Johnson? He was the manager before close, was it? Aye. And it came in, I think it was Lakeland, or was it United Farmers, or what do you call it, Dale Farm. I sent it in one of the tankers into the factory to give to the factory manager.
Mind.
He never got it.
Somebody else took it, that's right, I'm saying who took it, but I know who took it, all right.
It mysteriously
It
disappeared.
disappeared, and I think it was about 5 or 6 days later that Jim Ward came down, or the manager came down looking for it, and of course nobody knew anything about it. We all knew where it went to.
Magnus Pike asked me about this. Sean McGarry used to be a production manager. I used to use the hands going, you know, there's a boy Magnus Pike used to be a professor for Pike on TV. And I next to him, Magnus Pike. And the hands flying away. Pike, did you see that? Did you see what it went? I was, how did I know? What are you on about? I never heard about that stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. And just walks on. Well, the hands are flying everywhere.
Yeah. That's the crack that we had. And I'll tell you what, it was near the bone a lot of the time.
No, but at least no, we fell out, we met up again.
Oh God, aye.
But some people nowadays wouldn't do that. Some get very bitter and won't do that. See, with us it's different. We might have fell out and things like that, and big argument, but maybe a couple of weeks after we're back to normal again.
Aye.
But that's an environment that you're living in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not living in, working in, that you have to accept because you're under a lot of pressure.
Oh, aye.
'Cause
Yeah.
if you don't get that product out, you're in bother. And why it's not been bought out, why it's not started up. Like you only have a certain time, like a time when I work in the road, you tell the tire. If you don't have that, say you're given 12 hours, you get everything cleaned, set up again, and go again. If you don't do that within them 12 hours, the questions asked from the supervisor, why it's not on. And you're under pressure to get that done. And it takes its toll.
I told you.
Aye.
Used to ask, you know, say for instance, we met some of our past colleagues in the town, and we said, or maybe somebody who didn't know us, they'd be shouting across the street, Rosie, didn't you work in Nestle's? I said, yeah, I did. And then this ex-colleague would say, Rosie, you were employed by Nestle's. There's a difference between working in it and being employed. So that meant it more or less said that, well, Rosie didn't pull her weight or she didn't work, but that applied to us all. You were employed by the factory, not
I'll
work.
tell you now, I think probably there was a thing, used to be a carry on going on as well, but I think certain people then cameras going on to then. Used to be boys used to go in, get somebody else clocked in, but they're not there. They're not there, they're away. They're not even in the factory, but they're clocked in. At that time then the cameras went in after that to see who's in, who wasn't in.
That's right, and you had a swipe card.
Yeah. Maybe the time they used to buy somebody, I looked for somebody one day and he says, no, he's not here, he's still at home. I said, what? I said, I thought he was in. No, he wasn't. He was clocked in alright, but he wasn't in.
Yeah.
He getting paid for it.
So any old skullduggery like that.
A lot of that going on. And also sometimes if you get away with it, you can get out and go to McGinn's and you still post at work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the case. Well, of course, then somebody could see you and then they would report back.
That's what happened when certain boy he got the sack over
Well,
there.
you got
Yeah.
the sack.
Yeah,
That stopped that.
Yeah,
I
stop
did.
that.
Yeah. So you took your drink in with you.
A lunchbox with a drinking all away.
And a flask. The whiskey was in a flask.
Like I used to go down, down Donegal, there's called the Muffler Bakery. And I used to down there, I used to be cutting a woman down there, some kids down there, and I used to come home, going to work at night, on night shift, night 12 o'clock, and the cars all steamed up. The boys knew already what was in, full of fresh bread from the Muffler Bakery. I was hey Pike, where's the bread? I just out there and wait, like rocking, it's still warm. Getting it out of the boot and them taking it home for next door and free bread. And that's what they used to do with me. Usually get in and make toast to me.
Where was that from, Ardra?
Mulford Bakery.
Oh, Mulford Bakery.
Down beside Carrickeel.
Oh, right.
I used to go down, Uncle give me fill the boot, the boys fill the boot up my car, and I'm going home in the steam all up in the car, trying to go over Campbell's home. Well, put a pile of bread in the car, trying to open all the windows to get all the steam out.
Steam out.
So I think there was someone else going on about it.
Exactly, I was going to say that.
No, but that wasn't the case.
But have you any questions for us, Pádraig?
All my questions you have practically answered without me having to say them. To be honest, you have answered all of them
Good.
pretty well.
Well, that's the way it is. That's why I started up this. I don't mind to repeat myself, this social thing, because we just all get together for coffee. It's just it's good to socialise our old colleagues.
Yeah.
I know I have new colleagues. Mine's fishing colleagues. That's what I have when I go to work. But it's good to get old people that you know in the past, just to get a socialising going. And it's good to get, because some people really enjoyed it. Do you really enjoy it? It's good for your mental ability.
Oh, aye.
So
It's like a form of therapy.
But then there's certain people, I was telling Rosie the other day, a certain woman told me, I didn't know this. There's two women come out, I had them out one day, I'm not mentioning any name. One was a rock fighter, and the other one was somebody else, right? And I didn't know the two of them didn't speak. And I was wondering why they didn't see eye to eye. You know, these things you only pick up from other people. I don't realise them, but I'll still ask them to come. If they want to come, they come. I don't. But after he says, see who turns up and who doesn't turn up.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. But it's nice to get out for social.
All you can do.
And then there's someone now decided want to go down to Glenties with us, but then they seem to not come for coffee, but they'd rather go down for a drinking session. But I'm not going to no drinking session down there.
Yeah.
You're paid for it too.
One of the boys that we worked with, he's got a restaurant down there now, and we're on about going down there
Down to see
for a weekend.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
Test his,
you better sing
test,
then, Rosie, be all right.
I'll bring the guitar with me.
You bring a guitar away.
test his cooking,
Eh?
test his cuisine.
Well, it's advertised there on Facebook there not so long ago. It's called the Courthouse Hotel Restaurant in Ardra. But we can't stay in Ardra, we have to stay in Bentley's, maybe a Highland Hotel. Right? We're not staying down the one called Cars, too far away, but he started up his restaurant now, he's looking for more people to work on it. He must be flying because he's looking for more staff. At the minute he told me, I was talking to him one time down in American I was sitting in the car after a walk, an hour and a half on the phone, and he says that he pays out £21,000 per week for wages. And I said, Jim, he used to do cars at the start, and he got away with that, and he met this other woman, and that's what he started up now. He makes it homemade buns. These are fresh buns. These ones are not preserved for 2 weeks. After 4 or 5 days, they're gone off. No chemicals in it. Yeah. And he's flying with it, and the restaurant as well. And that's what he started. So I said to him to call down sometime. Not the money, because I have to see a boy now on Tuesday about my sinuses, because I have problems with my sinuses, a lot of headaches. But I'll get that sorted first before I decide to go down, because I can't take a drink. It's like every morning I get up, take a bad hangover. Yeah. And I have to get it sorted out. So I do, but I get it done, and then by way in a tick couple of hot ones, couple of pounds whiskey into my flame.
Yes, I've seen you on the whiskey.
It was Black Bushes or Jameson.
Powers.
Oh, right. But then some of us then after we left Nestle, then Pádraig, we went on then to do other things. I actually ended up working up in the grammar school, the convent, and the science labs there. Yeah. So for another 17 years.
He's done right. I went down to Terex for about 8 years.
Aye.
I was an engineer, and then I finished up then. I had to get a scan done. I had a weight problem with my knee. I done a full MRI scan, and then I put my medical sick because I've had arthritis. I didn't know at the time. And then I got the shoulder done as well, and got the knee done. That was finished me. I put my medical sick. So.
And I just retired.
You just retired? But you were fitting the things. Things. What time things you took on the dryer one time you were working at? In the box?
Oh, that was for doing the stuff for Ultra in Newton.
Was it?
Aye.
But
that was for the wee vents for the windows and that. You put the two ends on the things.
Right.
That.
You were doing that for a while, were you not?
Oh, aye, right. Well, I had a big shed at the side of the house with all the machinery and everything in it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you kept that going after you left Nestle's,
oh, aye.
So there's life after Nestle's, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Well, a certain boy used to work on Nestle's, and God rest his soul, nobody couldn't need eyes in the back of your head to watch him. You know who I'm referring about.
But when I left, there was about 12 of us, I think. that we'd all sort of started at the same time.
Yeah.
We were all around the same age, and we qualified for a redundancy and the pension.
Yeah.
So we got the redundancy and the
And the
pension
pension.
at the same time.
Yeah.
But there was a certain other boy got the 40-year pension. He wasn't on that. I was on before him.
€40.
40-year pension they got. You know who I'm talking about?
No, you can tell me afterwards.
Zuma.
Zuma?
Aye.
Right.
Oh, his brother's is a solicitor, you see.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. That's right. But he's dead, isn't he now?
Who?
Pigeon.
No, not the
Pigeon?
pension. Not the pension.
No.
The pension's dead.
Aye.
The Banty's dead. Dickie's dead. A lot of people's dead. Then Flash Gordon's still living. Had to go and see him about getting socialising as well.
Flash
Get
Gordon.
him.
Oh, aye, we forgot to say that the railway line used to stop at Nestles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually.
Aye.
Yeah.
Railway line stopped at Nestles and loaded up, or we'd unload it.
That's where the coal come from. For the boilers.
Coal, aye.
The big boilers and all.
So
Tony
that's,
McGartland was just in there now.
Who?
He wrote, Tony McGartland. He wrote
aye.
a book about the railway.
He did, that's right. The railway closed in February 1965.
His son Paul used to work in the factory. Paul McGartland.
Did he?
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
Paul used to work on it. So I'd be heading over around again. While about fishing. That's when the boys were interested is fishing.
Yeah. So, is there anything else?
No, don't think so. These
No, yeah, I think
At
that's
present-
something
You're all right. You're happy with that. You can wipe out some of